I'm Pete Thorn, and I'm here to talk to you about the PT100 model amp from Suhr. So this head behind me is the one I've been using on the road for the last couple years live. When John and I first spoke about me using one of his amps, basically I'd been using multiple amplifier heads on the road and switching between them for different sounds. And I wanted to see if it would be possible to maybe just use one amp instead and simplify things. So the idea behind the amp was that it had to be really versatile, and what we ended up with was a 3-channel amp head. Channel 1 is a real sort of traditional Fendery clean. You can make it real sparkly and crystal clean, or you can grind it up and make it drive harder and make it like a real good bluesy sound. Channel 2 and 3, what I was going for was I like a real open Brit flavored Marshall-y sound. I wanted to be able to go all the way from like AC/DC to Van Halen to like 80s modded Marshall tones to more like modern rock sounds. And so that's a tall order for any amplifier, but I really think John achieved it with this head. The amp has a very powerful control on the back called a feedback control. It allows you to vary the negative feedback in the power section, and basically what that means is you can make the amp real squishy and soft and vintage feeling, or you can make it real tight and punchy and more like modern and stiff, or anywhere in between. You can find your sound in there somewhere. Okay, in this first clip I'm going to show you what the amp sounds like set real clean on channel 1. I'm using my Suhr Classic S in the first clip. It's amp set real sparkly clean. In the second clip I'm using the neck pickup on the same guitar, and I play some Hendrix, and I just set the amp up a little bit warmer. Okay, in these next two clips, I'm going to show you what the amp sounds like pushed a little harder on channel 1. Okay, now moving over to channel 2, I'm going to show you what the amp sounds like set up for, in my mind, sort of a vintage Marshall Plexi kind of sound. So I'm going to play some classic rock riffs that we all know and love, and I've got the negative feedback control on the back of the amp set very low, so it's kind of a vintage Plexi Marshall value. The amp's kind of very forgiving and a little soft and squishy, and the gain set quite low on the amp, so you'll hear what it sounds like for classic rock kind of stuff. Okay, in this next clip, I got the amp set up much gainier on channel 2. No boost in or anything like that on channel 2, but I've got the gain cranked up to about 8. I'm going to play a Soundgarden song, so you'll hear how I kind of set the amp up when I'm on tour with Chris Cornell. It's basically like my live settings on channel 2. I've turned up the feedback control a bit, so the amp gets a little bit punchier, but it's still got some nice give to it. Okay, I'm going to play a King's X song now, and I've turned up the feedback on the back of the amp to about 6, so the amp gets stiffer, and I think of it as more like a modern rock tone. It gets like punchier and a little more like hard sounding, but it's cool for playing like tight detuned rhythms and stuff. Alright, now I'm going to play some 80s metal, a little bit of Whitesnake in honor of Reb from Whitesnake, because he's actually using this amp live now. On channel 2 with the tube boost switched in, it takes on kind of a modded Marshall character. Check it out. Okay, now I got the amp set up for my live lead sound. I'm playing my Suhr T with 2 humbuckers. So you can hear the boost circuit and how John voiced it. It just really makes sing notes sing with like a lot of overtones, and it's an exciting amp to play lead on. I think the amp does a real cool brown sound. We're back on channel 2, but the boost is off, and the feedback's set real low, and the gain's cranked up pretty high. And there you have it, the PT100 head. I should add, it's got a great series effects loop on the back, so you can patch in your outboard effects, and it comes with a foot switch as well. Alright, see ya.